What if I told you there's a brand new ETF with a single goal, pay you a 25% yield every single year? Not 6%, not 9%, not even the 15% that already sounds too good to be true. 25%, annualized, paid monthly. Now, before you roll your eyes, I get it. Every few months, something like this shows up, creates a wave of excitement, and then slowly becomes a cautionary tale. But this one is different in a specific way that's worth your time to understand because it's built on a strategy that almost nobody is talking about yet, and it's quietly spreading across the ETF market right now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how this strategy works, what makes it genuinely different from covered calls or typical options income funds, what the real risks are, including a few that the fund discloses in its own filings that most investors completely overlook, and whether this could actually belong in a serious income portfolio. Let's get into it. The fund is called the Simplify Ancorato Target 25 Distribution ETF, ticker XXV. Its one stated objective: deliver a stable annualized distribution yield of 25%, paid monthly after fees and expenses. The fund launched in November 2025 and is sub-advised by a firm called Ancorato Capital, which is where the name comes from, a structured product specialist that designs the option strategy underneath the fund. If it hits that 25% target consistently, even with a flat share price, a $10,000 investment would generate roughly $199 per month based on its most recent distribution of 48 cents per share. That's the math at today's NAV of approximately $24.05. Here's the system behind how it's trying to do that and why it's not as simple as it sounds. Let's start with the average investor's reality. The S&P 500 has historically returned about 10% per year total. That includes both price appreciation and dividends. If you want pure income from a traditional dividend portfolio, you're looking at maybe 2 to 4% yield. Bond funds, 4 to 6% in the current environment. Even the most aggressive covered call ETFs, the ones that sacrifice growth for income, are typically sitting in the 8 to 12% range. Now translate that to real dollars. A $100,000 portfolio generating 5% in income gives you $5,000 a year, about $416 per month. That doesn't cover rent in most cities. It barely covers a car payment. The income investing problem isn't one of ambition, it's one of math. Traditional income instruments simply do not generate enough cash flow to replace a salary unless you're working with a very large portfolio. That's the gap, and it's the gap that funds like XXV are trying to close, not by taking reckless bets, but by using a fundamentally different options architecture, one that most retail investors have never heard of. The strategy XXV uses is called a barrier option strategy, and it's been a staple of institutional structured products for decades. Banks have been packaging barrier structures into notes and certificates for sophisticated investors since the late 1990s. The concept isn't new. What's new is that it's finally showing up in the democratized ETF wrapper. In the past year, several asset managers, Simplify, Calamos, and Innovator, have all launched barrier-based ETFs. They're all brand new, all offering yields north of 12%, and all doing something meaningfully different from the covered call ETFs that dominated the high-income space before them. So this isn't a gimmick, it's a proven institutional structure being made available in a new format. The question is whether the ETF execution holds up, and that's where we need to go deep. Before breaking down exactly how XXV works, here are 3 principles that will make everything click. Rule 1. The income isn't generated from owning stocks, it's generated from selling options on stocks, specifically selling the risk of a crash. Rule 2. You have a defined level of protection. There's a barrier, a predetermined price level below which losses kick in. Above that level, the options expire worthless and the premium you collected is your profit. Rule 3. The higher the yield target, the higher the underlying risk. XXV targeting 25% means it's taking on significantly more volatility exposure than a fund targeting 12%. That trade-off is intentional, and it shows up directly in the fund's actual performance since launch.
How the barrier strategy actually works, step by step. Part 1. The barrier put option.
A regular put option gives buyers protection if a stock falls, and the seller of that put owes money if it does. A barrier put is a specialized version. The seller still collects a premium up front, but they only owe money at expiration if the underlying asset falls below a specific threshold, the barrier. The fund collects those premiums and distributes them to you as monthly income. Why it matters. This structure lets the fund collect much larger premiums than a standard covered call because the risk profile is different. You're not just selling upside, you're selling deep downside protection. The market pays generously for that. The trade-off? If the underlying stock drops past the barrier at expiration, you're fully exposed to those losses beyond that point. No floor, no cap. Here's where X25 specifically diverges from the simpler barrier funds. Simplify's other barrier ETF, SBAR, uses a fixed 30% barrier. X25 works differently. Its barriers are constantly adjusted to whatever levels are needed to support the fund's 25% distribution target. Think about what that means in practice. If market volatility is low and premiums are thin, the fund has to accept higher risk, a tighter barrier, to keep generating enough income. If volatility spikes and premiums are rich, it can afford more protection. The 25% yield target is always the goal, and the barrier moves around it. Why this matters? You're not getting a fixed, predictable protection level. You're getting whatever protection the market allows while still hitting 25%. The trade-off? In a low volatility environment, the safety net can shrink considerably, and you might not notice until it's too late.
XVST
sells barrier put options referenced to individual stocks, and not just any stocks. The fund's strategy specifically targets high volatility names because more volatility means more premiums and more income to distribute. This is a deliberate contrast with SBAR and XV, which reference broad indices representing US large cap, small cap, and growth stocks. A 30% plus drop in a broad index is rare. A 30% plus drop in a single high volatility stock in a short period of time is not. Why this matters for yield? The income is higher precisely because the individual stock risk is higher. That's the engine behind the 25% target. The trade-off? You're exposed to concentrated, event-driven single stock volatility, the kind that can happen in a single bad earnings report or a macro shift that targets a specific sector.
Part 4. The Return of Capital Disclosure.
This one doesn't get talked about enough, and it should. According to the fund's own data, approximately 87% of X25's distributions are classified as return of capital. That means of every dollar you receive in monthly income, roughly 87 cents is technically a return of your own invested principal, not investment income in the traditional sense. Return of capital isn't always bad. In certain tax contexts, it's actually advantageous because it defers your tax liability. But what it does mean is that the fund's true income generation, the portion coming from actual options premiums, is a much smaller slice of that 25% headline figure than it appears. The rest is made up from your own capital. This is disclosed clearly in the prospectus. The fund states it does not guarantee that it will meet its distribution target without some return of capital. That's a sentence worth reading twice before investing.
Part 5. The Income Engine. How distributions are actually funded.
The distributions you receive each month come from two sources: the options premiums collected from selling the barrier puts and the treasury income from the fund's collateral holdings, primarily U.S. Treasury bills and government money market funds. At a 25% annualized rate, the fund needs to generate just over 2% per month in net income. For options on high volatility individual stocks, this is achievable, particularly in a high volatility market environment. But as we've seen from its distribution history, the payouts have already started to drift. The most recent distribution was $0.48 per share in March 2026, down from $0.5 the month prior. At the current NAV, that annualizes to approximately 24%, slightly below the fund's stated 25% target. It's still close, but it's worth noting that even in its first few months of operation, the target hasn't been perfectly met every single month.
Let's run a realistic scenario with current data. You invest $10,000 in XXV today at approximately $24.05 per share. That buys you roughly 415 shares. At the most recent distribution of 48 cents per share, you receive approximately $199 per month, or about $2,390 per year. Now here's the full picture. Since its November 2025 launch, XXV's share price has declined from its initial range of $25 to $27 to its current level around $24.05. That's a price drop of roughly 8 to 10%. If you had invested $10,000 at launch, you would have collected roughly $1,000 to $1,100 in distributions over those months, but your principal would also be sitting at approximately $9,000 to $9,100. Net, you're roughly even or slightly behind depending on your exact entry point. This is not a disaster. It's also not the flat share price with pure income scenario the fund implies. This is the fund behaving as the prospectus described it would. Options marked to market daily, share price fluctuating, with the thesis being that it recovers toward fair value as options approach expiration. Best case, volatility stays elevated. Premiums stay rich, distributions remain near the 25% target, and the share price stabilizes or recovers. Worst case, a sharp, sustained decline in the underlying reference stocks breaches the barriers, generating realized losses that exceed the distributions you've collected. Now, here's the question for the investor who isn't putting in $10,000 or $100,000 today. What if you're building toward income? What if you're in accumulation mode and the $199 per month figure doesn't excite you because your starting position is much smaller? The compounding math still applies if the distribution holds. $1,000 reinvested monthly at a 25% annualized rate grows to approximately $1,280 by the end of year 1, $1,640 by year 2, and around $2,100 by year 3 without adding a single dollar of new capital. But there's a catch that the basic math doesn't show you. At roughly 87% return of capital, much of what's being reinvested is your own money coming back to you in a new form. The true compounding from genuine income is more modest. You need to understand which of the two you're actually doing. Here's what XXV actually is in plain terms. A fund that sells crash insurance on individual volatile stocks, distributes the premiums as monthly income, uses dynamically adjusted barriers, not a fixed floor, and classifies most of that income as a return of capital. That's the whole model. Everything else is a detail layered on top. A few things that need to be said clearly. First, XXV has been trading for about 5 months. It launched in November 2025. Its share price has already declined from its initial range. It has not been through a prolonged market correction or a recession. The first real test of whether the barrier mechanics work as described hasn't arrived yet. Second, the fund's total AUM is approximately $50 million, and daily trading volume is around 6,500 shares. This is a very small, thinly traded fund. Getting in is easy. Getting out in size during a market dislocation may not be. Third, the prospectus states in direct terms that the 25% yield target is merely aspirational, and that the fund is not a managed distribution fund that will meet its target regardless of fund returns. And as of its most recent distribution, it is already slightly below that target. Fourth, 87% return of capital. Understand what you're receiving before you celebrate the headline yield number. This isn't a core holding. If it belongs anywhere, it belongs as a satellite position in a diversified income portfolio, something you size carefully, monitor closely, and understand at a mechanical level before committing capital. XXV is genuinely interesting, not because a 25% yield is guaranteed, but because the barrier strategy represents a real architectural evolution in how ICR ETFs are built, and we're likely to see more of them.